And now we get into public domain. It is currently now 7:35 p.m. on the 19th of March. We had a very, very quick, very speedy BTS segment with Mr. Spear and our other guest. Forgive me, what is your name, sir?
Daniel McClure.
Daniel McClure. So Spear and McClure. Spear and McClure. Okay. Names. Remember the names. So, we had a really awesome BTS segment. They asked me some pretty solid questions. Please consider checking this out. Checking out this full version of this Anatomy Crosscast session over on the Crosscore Patreon for only $3 a month. Once you do subscribe to that Patreon, you will get access to the BTS segment as well as potentially the Under the Skin segment if there is one. Otherwise, let's go ahead and jump into the People segment. Now, what I want you gentlemen to do is just let's go ahead and start with Spear because he took reins first. We'll just go in that order, 50-50. Go ahead and take us back in time, sir, please, and thank you to you becoming a musician, you getting into music, any side projects along the way, up until you joined or started, because I don't know, Within Oblivion. Take it away, sir, please.
All right. I mean, yeah, so I started I can take it as far back as probably like middle school because when I was like 14, I got into choir, and that's actually where I started. My music journey was singing, right? So I got there and I found a love for orchestral and different composition music, especially vocally. I thought it was pretty cool, and I really enjoyed being a part of a group, hearing harmonies, and my teacher was pretty dope. He would have us do a lot of like darker cinematic sounding stuff. Like middle schools normally don't get to do stuff like that. They were always doing like the basic, kind of like major key whole tone stuff. And I thought it was cool that he had us do a lot of like foreign music as well, like from Egypt, from Middle East.
Whoa.
He had us do stuff in Latin. It was dope. So shout out
That's
Mr.
really cool.
McNelly, Sean McNelly. He was a big influence on me just musically, like when I first started, and then my dad too. He's a guitar player and he's been playing for 45 years, maybe even more. And he's definitely not like into the kind of metal that we do. He's more of like a heavy metal, maybe hard rock kind of guy. Definitely like AC/DC, Metallica, Iron Maiden. Maybe Slayer, maybe, but those are probably like my starting influences. And going from middle school to high school, I actually, because of my singing background, I always liked rhythmic groove though, and I felt like I got a lot of that out of rap. So I actually did hip hop and lyric writing with a
Ooh.
combination of rap and singing for probably like 4 or 5 years. And then I didn't even get into playing guitar or even really know what metal was until my first year out of high school, which was 2019.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was like really where I started. A girl that I was dating at the time showed me Slaughter to Prevail. So I went from hearing no metal in my life ever except for maybe Metallica, to Slaughter to Prevail,
To fucking
Demolisher, I think it
demolish
was.
it.
And,
Oh
and it
my
was like
god.
really, really fucking heavy for me at first. And I was almost like a little intimidated, but I avoided it for like 2 weeks, right? I didn't listen to it. And then I started listening to it at the gym, and I was like, okay, I'm noticing it gets me my PRs, but I can't listen to it outside the gym, or else it just feels weird for me.
Okay.
And then I found Ola England's band, Feared, and I also listened to Doth, and I listened to a lot of like um, OG, heavy like thrash melodic death metal bands. And I listened to them instrumental at first because I could appreciate the instruments, but I wasn't into the vocals. And honestly, after like 3 or 4 months though, I was listening to Slaughter to Prevail to chill pretty much like every day, and those were like one of my starting bands. But I have such a large library now, honestly. But I didn't. So essentially, what happened is I started playing guitar covers around that time because I wanted to learn how to play electric guitar because I got into metal. And I think I only had a six string for the first year, but then I got a seven string, and then shortly after I got an eight string, and I started my first band that I actually started like really getting into in like the really heavier side is like the extreme level. Probably like Infant Annihilator was like my biggest influence initially. Dickie Allen, love him, great vocalist, and I love the guitar. The way they write their guitar in those songs is really unique, especially their solos and their leads. So I was having a
Oh
really fun
yeah.
time with those. Um, and then I think, I always said to myself that I would do it as a hobby and I like doing covers, but I never thought I had what it took to be in a band. until I met my old buddy from high school, Jalen. And then, he had hit me up and he was like, "Hey, I have a deathcore band, with me and this other buddy that I used to know in school too."
Okay.
Um, and he was like, "Hey, you should like join this band." And I was like, "Really?" And I said, "Let me think about it." And so I talked to my wife and I was like, "Dude, you should do it." And I'm like,
Really?
I don't know. And then she was like, "No, like you really can." I was like, "Are you sure I'm like good enough? I've really only been playing for like a year and a half, 2 years." She's like, "You'll be fine." And I was like, "All right." So I joined it, and we had a great time. That was my first ever like project. It wasn't really like a big official thing. We had probably a max of like 3 monthly listeners ever, and we didn't do any promo. But it was called Keys of Death, and that was like our first project for me and Jalen. Um, and then we had a couple unannounced projects here and there. That one eventually kind of diluted itself. And then we had like another metalcore project that we had codenamed Rebel Angels, but again, never released anything. Um, and then we had like a year, maybe almost a year hiatus.
Okay.
And it wasn't until like that time where I was a personal trainer and I was that's actually how I met our bass player Jordan Gadsden. He was my client. He showed up one night. I wasn't even supposed to stay at work, but I saw him and I was like, "Hey, let's figure something out." And then he came looking like super metal. Like he looked dope. He had his afro out. He was wearing like a death metal t-shirt, and I was like, "Dude, do you like metal?" It's the first thing I said to him. I didn't even say hi. And he's like, yeah." And then I was like, "Do you play bass?" And he was like, "Why would you assume that?" And I was like, "I don't know. Do you play bass?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do." And I was like, "I need a bass player for this like band that I would love to start. Like, are you down?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then that same week, Jalen had also found a drummer. Our previous drummer's name was Spencer.
Okay.
Um, and so we started this band like out of nowhere. Like we had no band, I had no hopes for a band, and then I was like, you know what? Like I really miss being in a project, and I would love to like actually take it more seriously. So we were unnamed at the time. We were still metalcore, and then we found a vocalist, and then we started practicing, and we kind of rebranded as deathcore, and we didn't release anything, because I always wanted to do deathcore personally. There was a phase where Jalen had gone through a metalcore phase, and he was like really into that, so I was trying to be supportive. And I do love metalcore, I really do, but I love to write deathcore because I love things that are impactful, dark, cinematic. So I have a lot of free will with deathcore to be scary and grotesque and not really feel like I'm out of character. So
Okay.
I like that. But yeah, so we were actually a metalcore band before. We were called Within the Paragon.
Okay.
And that was a name that Jalen came up with, and he explained to me the meaning. I told his contribution was the Paragon, and mine was Within. I'm a big fan of Within Destruction
I thought
and
so.
Lead from Within and Within the Ruins, and I just like the word Within, and I was like, I kind
Yeah.
of want to like use it, and he was like, Yeah, let's do that. And so somewhere along the line, one day I was on the toilet and we were trying to think of a name. And I was like, Within Oblivion's a pretty sick name. And everyone was like, I texted everyone immediately and they were like, you know what? Because we were trying for months. We couldn't think of a name to like kind
Huh.
of change it. And it randomly hit me and everyone seemed to like it and it stuck. And we had like a year and a half to 2 year writing phase where we were kind of a band, we were kind of announced, but we weren't really super official. And I think we like released a couple songs, but like we weren't like promoting them super heavy. We were kind of testing the waters to see what our sound should be. And we had gone through two vocalists during that time period. Um, Maybe three, I don't recall. We had a lot of short-lived like things that weren't really ever announced. And then one day, here we are. We found our previous vocalist, Ralph, and and around that time, we also found our current drummer, Nick. So at that point, me and Jalen founded the band, and then Jordan would be the next in line for the most like the next oldest member, and then Nick, and then yeah, now we have our current vocalist Dan, great guy, super cool, love the man. I'm not saying that because he's right in front of me, but but yeah, that's pretty much my journey. I was in a couple like unannounced projects. I really wasn't even a metalhead until like a year or two before, forming this band. And but this is my first real like big announced project. Jalen has since left the band to chase other pastures, and he left I believe December 20th last year. So now we have our new guitar player Cam, really good guy that I've known for a few years, excellent guitar player. Um, but yeah, I'm excited about our new lineup, and it's been a really fun journey getting to where we're at now. But I'm so glad that we started this band because it's really evolved into a project that I feel like is home. So.
Hell yeah. No, that's awesome. That's really cool. not only did you end up founding the band, it used to be a metalcore band, but you felt more creative freedom in divulging into deathcore. And I think
Hmm.
that's just a natural adjustment these days. We were talking in the most recent Crosscast last night about how a lot of bands, they want to start out as a metalcore band. They're listening to maybe Make Them Suffer or August Burns Red,
Hmm.
or maybe they're going back in time. But what's really interesting, and I think this is an epiphany we all had in that call last night, is that a lot of bands are resorting to tradition because they're wanting to go back in time and have like MySpace styled metalcore, but like with modern production because the quality was kind of there. The technology in production and sound engineering was there, but like it wasn't as good as it is now. So it's like imagine the crab core just like all
Hmm.
the chugging and shit. But with today's production quality, it's like, you know what? That actually sounds pretty freaking cool. So we ended up quoting that a lot of bands are resorting to tradition, but I mean, in most cultures, I think eventually that does happen. You can repeat history and you can look at it like that, or you can look at it as embracing tradition and embracing what kickstarted and made that corner of said culture relevant. Like that's
Well, yeah.
that's what helped it pop off. Now,
Mhm.
maybe this is not the case for Within Oblivion, right? You guys are rather modernized deathcore. You have some modernized takes with your marketing, and I think this is actually a pretty good segue because I'm not sure if you guys have had the opportunity to watch any of our crosscasts before. If not, that's completely okay. Um, I found myself on the side of the aisle of being rather against AI generated art, right? And this is not like to start an argument or debate, but I was curious on like how that's been going so far and like what's been the reason so far for indulging or entertaining this
Hmm.
new modern form of artwork
Oh,
for
for sure.
Within
Yeah.
Oblivion.
Yeah. No, and I was actually going to talk to you about that too because I noticed you had like a anti-AR AI art in your bio. So, so all of our artwork right now, it's not necessarily not all of it's AI. Some of it. So our drummer is a graphic designer and he makes
Mm.
everything in-house. He does use digital rendering to come up with the initial image. Usually he'll do like 60 images and then he pulls from all of them to make a brand new image.
Oh,
Yeah, so we've never used a photo or like a video and just been like, okay, AI slop done, and then that's it. It's always been for the idea. It's more like used as like an idea tool or a base format, and then from there, Nick will man hour edit it for 2 to 4 weeks, and then we get some kind of project out of it. Most of our band, we haven't talked as a group enough about it yet to kind of get everyone's opinion, but I'd say like a majority of our band is not a fan of AI art or AI music. We like to support real illustrators, and we've actually made a move behind the scenes recently to just start making more connections and just hire real illustrators because I love doing that and I want to support artists that, put in the work. And so I think all of us have the same opinion as you. We're actually changing our mind over time. We started with using more AI because we wanted to do things independently, and that's Nick's style of editing. And I think he's a great editor, and the stuff that he comes up with, it takes him a long time, and I can really respect it. But yeah, the AI itself, we're trying to move away from as a tool. But yeah, it's only really ever been a tool. We've never just kind of used it to create something and then been like, all right, let's do that. We like to hire artists. My buddies, I actually have like two or three artists right now working on new shirt designs. And we recently hired an artist. I unfortunately I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but they are featured on our profile. They actually drew up our last Magic the Gathering Nicol Bolas t-shirt. And
ooh,
there's like a time lapse drawing of him drawing it on our page, and it's I think it's on his page actually, but it's super sick. So yeah, definitely moving away from AI art as a tool. For now, it's kind of been our way to because Nick's a really good graphic design guy and he's a great video editor. He's just not an illustrator, and we were
right.
trying to keep things in house and put our budget towards other things. But now, we have more money to play with, and we definitely can afford to start working with more illustrators. And that's kind of been our goal ever since we released Abyss, pretty
Right.
much. So, yeah, hopefully that kind of answers our stance
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I can't stress enough as a creator and someone who is, taking their sweet time, mind
Mhm.
you, But I do want to eventually become an illustrator myself, and if it comes down to it, once I'm more comfortable and I'm able to just improvise some type of illustration in the same amount of time that I can improvise a logo,
Mhm.
practicing now for 4 years, I'm getting to a point to where I want to, in the most positive and, what is a good way of saying it, in the least hostile way possible, offer to redo an AI generated art image that any band ever does. Because I can tell. I can tell when some bands are just like, and Deicide, Megadeth, As Blood Runs Black, all of these bands, unfortunately, who do have a bigger platform, they have utilized it as a tool.
Mhm.
And I think it's counterproductive to the music industry as a whole, because especially a band like Megadeth, where the singer was originally, oh, I don't know, the vocalist of Metallica, the metal band, like when you just fully embrace modernity, but in like a very volatile and damaging way, like what part of the counterculture are you a part of when you're potentially hurting the opportunity for any and all artists, especially with a Megadeth level budget?
Yeah, that's
So,
crazy. Actually, I had no idea that they that they were using AI, because that blows me away. Because like I said, for us it was mostly a budget and like
yeah,
independency thing. Yeah, because I believe that illustrators should get paid quite a lot. I truly do. It takes a lot of time, and I'm not much of a drawer myself, but I have a lot of friends and family that do draw, and I've seen them work on things, and it's like it's pretty up there. But I've had people offer to do it for me for free that I know, but I want to pay them, truthfully, and I want to pay them more than they ask. So that's kind of why initially we were like, hey, let's see if we can do it ourselves and, still be creative, still have like that human influence on it, and try not to just be like, because for me, like I'm not like a massive hater on AI as a whole.
right.
I just hate when people are like super lazy with it and they leave fucking mistakes and they just like, because that's disrespectful to me. If you're gonna use it as a tool. Don't just like create something and then just go plop, because that's kind of like fucked up to me. To me.
No, no, I agree with that 1,000%. And I was very grateful to have had the opportunity to speak with one of the biggest graphic art designers, illustrators, calligraphists in the scene, Kalen Stokermans, back in I think 23, and we'd had a hefty conversation about that. Luckily, gratefully, he has been under the wing of Unique Leader Records for a long time, so he handles their merch design layouts as well as does logos for bands, does illustrations, and now is doing tattoos. So like, I think most of the mediums possible to make money off of with drawing, like he's capitalizing off of, and I love to see it. It really, it's been really discouraging the last couple years to see bands participate in that culture. So I'm glad that I did not respond upon impulse and be like, "What the fuck is this?" and like send you guys a picture of your art, because that would have been so damaging for this conversation, and let alone like, but unbeknownst to myself, it's not blatantly AI. You just used it for the beginning, but then you
Mhm.
had someone organically involved in the rest of it to just sharpen it up and add more soul to it. And that I can respect. So thank you for clearing the air on that. That
Yeah, for
way,
sure.
um, we can also, with this conversation, tell the world they're not blatantly using AI.
No, we're not. And yeah, moving forward, we're gonna definitely make it a mission to really just not use it at all, ideally. Yeah. Because we don't use any AI or any like generative stuff for our music, so I just would rather not use it for our artwork as well. I'm cool. I think when AIs are really cool, what I think AI is great for and what I think we should still have it for. Because even before AI was a thing, we still had forms of digital rendering that were in a way like AI, but like they weren't really talked, shit about in the same way.
Yes.
So for me, it's like, if you want to come up with an idea that you see in your head and you're not a drawing artist, if you want to create an AI image and show like the basic idea to an artist and be like, hey, this is the vibe that I want. This computer kind of helped me visualize what's in my head. Because to me, that's the same as like, having ChatGPT or whatever help you write a more professional email. You're just trying to clear up what's in here if you're not an illustrator yourself. That I'm not against. I'm just
No.
like I said earlier, I'm just kind of against the overuse of it, without that
Yes.
human influence.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's the most important part, I think, really, of that topic. and now I can rest my conscience a little bit because I'm like, God, like, are we
That
about to bring on a band that's like, I don't give a fuck, like
no,
AIR
we definitely care.
forever?
Yeah. No, you're good.
But let's go ahead then and transition into Mr. McClure and your story, sir. Um, I am very grateful to have received your Crosscast intro and your participation in that part of this show's culture. And at that, the earliest. I got that the quickest from you that I've gotten from anyone. So I'm like,
Ooh, locked in. Yeah.
locked in. And it sounded really good. I think the only thing I need to do is just get like two layers, crop you out in one layer. Like not but like crop out the background, smack the logo in there, and then just improvise some stuff for the sake of social media.
Right.
But let us learn about Mr. Daniel McClure. Let's get some frontman syndrome in chat for a little bit, okay?
For sure, yeah. I feel like I don't know, I've always had a pull towards music my entire life. My dad has told me like back when I was even a toddler, I would hear a song and be like, "Dad, play that one again. I want to hear it again." And then I'd be singing along with it the second time I heard it.
That's
And
cool.
going into elementary school, my elementary school didn't have like we had like music class and all that stuff, and that was like definitely my favorite subject was going to music class every single day. And I remember one day they had a middle school band come and play for us, and I was just so enthralled in everything that was happening, looking at all the instruments on the stage, listening to what was happening, and I was like, I can't wait to start middle school so I can do band. And I
That's awesome.
remember when I went to pick my instrument so that I could join band, I was there for 3 hours trying to figure out what I was going to play, just going back and forth between everything. And I wound up picking the clarinet. So, yeah, I've kind of been just picking up instruments my entire life. I'd get a methods book and just kind of sit down with it, sit down with the instrument and figure it out, learn how to read the notes and all this kind of stuff. And I'm really lucky to have had so many amazing mentors through my life that has kind of nourished that love for music. Like at every step of the way, like probably even going back before elementary school, but like my music teacher in elementary school, my band directors going through middle school, my band and choir directors in high school, they've just been an amazing support. And I I'm pretty sure I would have, still followed the path of music even if I didn't have that amazing support, but I feel like I'm so much further ahead than I would have been without that. And getting out of high school, I knew I wanted to study music, so I went to college for clarinet performance. It actually started as music education because I was like, job security. What am I going to do with a performance degree in clarinet, you know? Um, but the music education thing wound up not being for me. Did a couple of those classes and I was like, yeah, this isn't really it. So I wound up switching to performance after all, and I jumped around a couple of other majors as well, mainly composition. I've been writing music my whole life as well. Not so much for like the metal side of things, but like I don't know, like wind quintet for an orchestra, like all this
Whoa.
kind of stuff. That's been my specialty pretty much through my whole life.
Okay.
And yeah, trying to nail down my thoughts here.
No, you're
Sorry, I'm
good.
having
You're
a lot
good.
of
I'm
them.
sorry. There's a lot to think about with this show.
Yeah, for sure. Um, But yeah, after college, I graduated college in 2020. My senior year was the COVID year, which really sucked because that meant that coming out of college, there was absolutely no music jobs, especially for a performer. So while I was in college, during the summers, I was working as a groundsman, um, just to kind of, help pay for rent and all this kind of stuff. And I really loved cutting the grass and stuff, but I'd say that's really the main section in my life where I kind of was stagnant. I wasn't practicing as much. I didn't feel as much intrinsic or extrinsic motivation to write or play my instruments. So that's kind of like a little gap. I really wish I would have continued to play and write music through that time. I'd be a lot
further ahead where I am right now, especially in terms of like the compositions that I write. But
Okay.
yeah, my partner decided that he wanted to go to UNLV, which is how I wound up. Oh, I'm from Colorado, by the way. I grew up in
Ah.
Colorado, lived in Colorado my whole life up until 2023.
Oh
And
shit.
so
Okay.
when he went to do his master's at UNLV, I followed him because I wanted to stay close to him. And I was also thinking, man, I need to get out of this stagnation in my life. And this is the way to do it. I felt like there was going to be more here in Vegas than there was in all of Colorado for what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And with specifically metal music, I got into it maybe middle school area. Um, the first metal band I listened to was a post-hardcore band called A Bullet for Pretty Boy. I listened to them a lot, and the music I listened to started getting more and more brutal. I started listening to bands like Suicide Silence, things more along that vein, and there was something about the energy of the music that just portrayed something that other music just couldn't for me. It's just so high energy, so involved, so raw, and there was something really appealing about that to me.
Hell yeah.
And so I don't remember when the first time I thought this, but I was like, I think it'd be fun to be a frontman in a metal band someday. That became a little bit of a goal of mine. And
Okay.
so I started trying to figure out how to do like the metal techniques and stuff, the vocal techniques. And actually the band that made me want to really sit down and learn to figure it out was Ginger. Listening to Tatiana, her vocals, oh my gosh. And she's a fantastic singer too. And so started piecing it together and started trying to write my own music, my own metal music, I should say. Because, like I said, my expertise is the more classical type of stuff, more of that kind of thing. And so the stuff I wrote was never really all that punchy. It wound up sounding kind of dinky, honestly. I was never really a big fan with any of the metal music I wrote by myself. And so, yeah, when I moved here, the first thing I did was started looking for bands who might be searching for a vocalist. And I actually saw Within the Paragon on Bandmix, talked with them a little bit. It wound up not working out. They had another vocalist. That was great. And then I saw Within Oblivion on there, and I was like, okay, cool. Maybe see if I could reach out and audition for them. It'll be all good and cool. So I actually did get to audition live, which was a lot of fun. That was my first time actually really like screaming in front of another person.
Okay.
And for various reasons, they wound up picking someone else, which is a-okay. It's
Yeah.
for the best, honestly. I think all of this has happened for a reason. Everything is played out the way it should have. Absolutely, no doubt in my mind.
Okay.
And so, I just kind of watched what they were doing from the sidelines, listened to their music a little bit here and there, and, just kept following them on socials. And then they made a post saying they were searching for a vocalist again. So I sent a text. I was like, hey, if you're interested, I'd be down to do another audition. And then things wound up working out. So here I am.
Here you are.
Here I
No,
am.
honestly, what I think is most interesting about your musical background. Do forgive me, you guys probably can't hear me that well. What I think is most fascinating about your musical background, you said wind tunnel choir or something like that.
No, no, it was like band and choir. So I was in
Nice.
wind band in high school because we didn't have an orchestra, and I did choir as well.
Okay. Well,
I
I mean,
did choir, dance, theater, all this kind of stuff. I was all about the arts.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. No, that's really cool. And I think most importantly, I mean, I know I was never really a theater kid. Thitty. What is thitty? I was never really a theater kid, but what I can say is that well after high school, well after graduation, I have found a new fascination, a new love, if you will, with musical performances live on Broadway. Has Been Hotel is obviously one of my favorite ones ever. I love Has Been Hotel so much. And then to contradict that and go back in time, I think, what was it, yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. I watched The Prince of Egypt for the first time in so many years. And I don't know, there's just something, even though I am a rather godless person, I am a Levian Satanist and an Ossature, in like some weird combination and capacity. But I watched The Prince of Egypt, and I'm like thinking about recent times, thinking about all the bigger Hollywood cabal stuff, and I'm like watching as the Red Sea finally closed in on itself, right? And the army of Egypt gets just drowned and washed away. I'm like, is God gonna do that eventually or what? Because like nothing's happening to all these evil people who have been doing everything that they have to the children. And I ended up having a very, very critical conversation with myself, just saying, I mean, I might be a heathen in a lot of monotheists' eyes, but like, if it means that we could get closer to just seeing all these people answer for their crimes in a biblical way, I would convert. Like, I finally had that conversation with myself, and it was really touching. It was really moving, and I was like, well, oh my God, like no pun intended, but I was like, holy moly, I just said that to myself. Like, I would be willing to convert if it meant that these people paid. But what I'm trying to say is musicals, when it's not a band, when it's not a death metal band or a live performing band, I think musicals are the closest you get to such a raw and invested live musical or music influenced performance that tells a story. And not only that, but in such a weirdly disconnected way that even if you got like Newsies, West Side, Little Shop of Horrors, damn it, it's like, hey, I know it's not Heathens. No, there's Hairspray. That's one. There's a couple, but no matter how realistic it is, it either makes you really uncomfortable or it helps you disconnect when they just start singing everything, and you're like, what's going on? Like the fourth wall break, right? is usually them like, why are we singing everything or whatever? Like, but in reality, that's also Disney. That was Disney for a lot of people growing up. It was just 2D animation turned into musicals instead. So it's like, if you have a background like that, I think it is going to add so much more to Within Oblivion if you allow it to. And I really want to see more bands embrace alternative, like not even in subgenre. I'm talking alternative in the medium itself. What I want to see in the future, possibly through Within Oblivion, we'll see, is during these more epic moments, during their performances, like it's more theater than it is an actual band. Like, I don't know. I think we should be seeing stuff like that in the future. I think bands like Heilung have gotten pretty close to that, but not nearly as close as we could get. Mm-hmm. So I'm manifesting that.
Yeah.
Whether through Within Oblivion or like other projects. What I'm trying to say is theater kids are metalheads too.
Yeah.
Like,
I might even go as far to say as band nerds are as well. My time in marching band, there's this thing called drum corps, which is like marching band to the nth degree, minus it's brass and drums only. And I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about some of the shows that I've seen. Like, for example, Carolina Crown, they have this show called Out of This World.
Okay.
And they I think, I don't remember what year it was, but not even just this one drum corps, just the way some of these shows are is kind of, it makes me think of the way you were talking about like the musicals. You know, it's just presented to you in such a raw, powerful way, and it's just a different medium to get that same kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I mean, I think that's also the reason bands like Slipknot have such appeal to the world, is because not only are they a metal band, not only are they a 9-person metal band, which everyone wears masks, but they also have 2 keg drummers. They have 2 people on keyboard, 2 people on guitar. It's just like, where the fuck did they come up with this? Like, there had to be cocaine involved.
Right.
Like, it's just insane and audacious and ambitious, but now they're one of the biggest metal bands in the world. Let's be real. So I think the more that we have bands, even today, it's like, oh, you can't make anything original. Sure you can. What if you had 2 bass guitars instead of 2 guitars? And one of them was like a more flamenco-styled bass player, while the other did the more gritty, more bone-shuffling, just like ding, ding, ding. Like, You could have two bass guitarists and just shake it up a little bit, or you can, as the joke goes, you can have someone just playing a cowbell. Shake it up, change it, like throw people off the freaking rails, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I think we deserve to have more creative innovation, especially if we have so many more people these days. You can't make anything original anymore. I'm like, oh yeah? Oh yeah? Well, there are 4 billion people on this planet. There are millions of bands. Doesn't matter. You can still make something original. It's just you can't say that it wasn't inspired by bands anymore. I think that should be the difference these days. It's not that you can't make anything original, it's just that you cannot deny the now thousands of bands that came before you that were doing a similar thing, and they're doing a similar thing because they inspired you to do something similar. It's just like, that's how it works. And there's nothing wrong with that. And to pretend then, in my opinion, that like we're trying to be original, we're trying to do our own thing by just having a 6-word subgenre label. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but you can just, you know, work with the algorithm a little bit and say we're 4 fans of Within Destruction, we are 4 fans of Spite, Angel Maker, Traders. Or because there are thousands of bands, mention underground bands that don't have any spotlight and be like, we're inspired by the people in the same frickin' bracket as us, and then they'll get more attention. I don't know. Like, there are so many more ways to approach it other than attempting to abandon the heritage that was before you. You cannot say that you weren't inspired by a band anymore by making music. Hell, even at the very beginning, I don't think that was possible. It's just that there was a lot less radio. There were no podcasts. There was no Spotify, YouTube, this and that. So it's like, you could pretend if you wanted to, but even blues guitarists got inspiration from Beethoven or some smack. Like, I'm sorry, there's just no way that part of the conversation can just be dismissed, ignored, and someone have the arrogance to say, we're a deathcore band, but like, what the fuck is deathcore? It's a new genre for us. I'm like, really, dude? Really? Like, no, you're a deathcore band because there's such a wide lineage of it. There is a legacy, there is a history of it. So sorry, that's my I guess my DNA band rant, which also plays into the anatomy segment. But let's go ahead and look then to conclude the people segment by asking a rather calm, collected, casual question just to 2 people who have known each other for a good chunk of time. What do Mr. Spear and Mr. McClure do for fun to connect outside of Within Oblivion's musical creation?
Well, what we like to do, you know, we do a lot of different things. We like food. So we definitely get food. Nine times, yeah, nine times out of 10, if we want to like think about writing stuff together and we want to hang out and like, you know, work on things together, whatever that might be, we always go grab a bite to eat. We hang out before, after, during. You know, we definitely bond over uh like movies, stories, like things that involve creativity. We just both really like creativity and, you know, like human creation a lot. So we definitely like to talk about like our ideologies and like you know, talk about the world, and this is something that we kind of get to experience. Maybe not, we talk about it, we don't probably experience as a group enough together outside of touring, but like we love to travel, and like we always talk about, you know,
Ooh.
experiencing new things. I think that's one of the biggest things we like to do together is like, hey, let's like experience shit together, you know, as a group, and let less of like, oh, we're just here because we got to get shit done. Like, it's also because we love what we do. And, you know, touring is probably the actual time, which I guess is when we're in the band, right? But just like the travel aspect, like even when we're not playing, we're just looking around or we're taking pictures on the way, making jokes, singing like car songs and, I Spy
Yeah.
and shit, like that's I really like that, honestly.
And that is exactly the type of answer I've been looking for so many dozens of crosscasts.
Oh.
Like, a lot of people are like, yeah, we go drink beer. I'm like, well, what else do you do? You're friends, right? Like, what the hell? I mean, drinking beer, that's fun. That can be fun. Going out and planning for barbecues and stuff, that could be fun. But I think that's one of my favorite answers to that question of all time. It's usually, yeah, we smoke. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, me and
dude,
Dan are borderline healthy. We hit the gym. We I've been well. His diet's fucking on point, man.
Yeah.
I recently have been eating pretty okay. I'm working on it. But yeah. So we don't really we'll get together as a band. Like when we really want to celebrate, we throw parties, and like when we drop a new song, sometimes like if we have time, we'll kind of throw like a listening party and invite our friends over, hang out, have some drinks. But yeah, we definitely drink more socially. I wouldn't say that's our go-to hangout for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good and it's reassuring to hear. One thing too, and this is of course the question I just asked would be the segue into the anatomy segment, but I did want to ask you guys as our second Vegas local deathcore band, what is something about Las Vegas, Nevada that you guys think the Cross Guild, our fans, our fan base, should know if they ever want to travel to Vegas?
Ooh, it's a good question for me because I was born here.
Yeah.
Right.
How long you been here, Dan?
Since August of 2023.
Wow.
So, like,
Okay.
going on 3 years.
Yeah,
Three,
that's
4.
nice.
Something like
Okay.
that.
So I got 21 years on you. That's fair. All right. So, okay. So I would say, I mean, okay, let's be real. People come to Vegas because they want to party and they want to see like that strip, the aesthetic they see in the movies. I'm not gonna lie, the casinos, are pretty much like how you see in the movies. They're exciting. You walk in, bunch of lights. There's people walking everywhere with like $400,000 watches on, and like people are like gambling. My recommendation, this is a personal opinion. I don't know if it's like maybe people want to lose money, but like I would say, I mean it's part. Okay, here's what I would say to do. If you want to gamble, do it, but don't go crazy, man. Like I live here and I definitely don't gamble, but when I do for fun, like very rarely, I throw in like $20 max. And I say like if you're gonna gamble one time, only put in a little bit so it's not like a big risk to you. And like keep going until you lose it all on purpose, so you know how horrible that feels. Because it is part of the experience is losing all your money. And, but you don't want to lose like a lot of money. $20, $40, you can lose that. But yeah. So I'd say lose your money one time on purpose. Other than that, walk away while you're ahead. That's my advice. But yeah, for Vegas, like honestly, I would say like if you're gonna visit the area, go to Vegas. Definitely hit the Strip. For honestly, you need a couple days to really get all the stuff you probably want on the Strip. But you should be encouraged to check out the surrounding areas because none of the real Vegas people live in the Strip. That's not a thing. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like people think like we're all like Strip, dude. I don't go to the fucking. When's the last time that I went to the Strip when we're not playing there? Like you know what I mean? Like I don't go there. So it's like yeah, I think last time I went to the Strip was when my friend from Germany came in town and we took him there because he wants to see it. So I'm taking him out. I don't really go. So it's cool. Boulder City has a lot of history to like how Nevada, how Las Vegas started. I would say check out there. There's so many beautiful hiking spots and like natural trails, lakes in the area. So I would say like venture out and see some pretty stuff, some nature, some desert things besides just coming here for the Strip. Because if you only come to the Strip, you're going to see a lot of fake and you're not going to see a lot of like authenticity from the area. That's
True.
That's what I would say. Just have fun, be responsible, but don't be afraid to check out other stuff besides like corporate Vegas.
I like that corporate Vegas. It's like this is where you lose your money. I love that
Yep.
comment earlier. Like
Super accurate.
no, one thing it's ironic because I've never been interested in gambling.
Hmm.
I really haven't. The one thing I want to go to Vegas for is actually the One Piece Cafe and the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum. That's the only thing I want to go there for, man.
That's so funny you said that. I actually learned about the One Piece Cafe last week. One of my friends told me about it. It's supposed to be a surprise, but I don't think she's gonna watch this. So I'm taking my wife there. Ideally,
Aw.
within the next week. She loves it. I don't know if she knows about it. I hope she doesn't, or else it'll be kind of embarrassing surprise. But I'm gonna I'm gonna take her there. So we'll have to get in touch, and I'll have to let you know how it is because I'm excited to try it for sure.
If I may ask, who was the friend that recommended you or like introduced you to the One Piece Cafe?
Oh, I shouldn't say friend. It was more so outside of my music career and what I'm building here and my businesses and everything else. I work in a physical therapy clinic.
Oh, right.
And one of my patients, who I can't disclose my name, but she recommended to me. She was like, we were talking for like an hour during one of her sessions, and she was just like, yeah, like I'm an anime fan. And we're talking about anime and One Piece, and then she's like, you should try out this One Piece cafe. And I was like, what? She's like, well, you haven't heard of it before? I was like, no.
No.
So yeah, that's kind of how I found out about it.
No, it's great. No, my buddy and I, Derek Ryan, of Gorpulent, formerly of Invirulent, and then like a couple other projects like Infuckment, a lot of ints, right? But he and I are big One Piece fans, and him and his boyfriend went to the L.A. location, I think, if not the Vegas location. And basically, he just warned me that if I ever go there, I just need to have a good chunk of money ready to go. But other than that, he's like, it is so worth it. I'm like, you're telling me, dude, I still need to get a car. Like,
Yep.
I've been carless for over a year now. It sucks, man. But the whole bunch of misunderstandings, essentially. That's why it's taken me so long. But as of Monday, and within the next month after that, I should have a car, I should have a truck, a vehicle that can get me the flip out of Arizona for a little bit, and I'm looking forward to it whenever it does happen. I've been meaning to go to Vegas, I've been meaning to go back up north here in Arizona, because today it was already 104 degrees, and I want to cry. I want to cry. Like,
Yeah, this is a record-breaking week for us here, according to our weatherman slash meteorologist. He was telling us it's like supposed to. I think today, what did we hit? 98 or something like that.
Something like that.
So
Yeah.
for this time of year, that like never happens. We have to wait till like at least like late April, maybe even late May to get like close to the hundreds. So yeah, I'm a little surprised we're that close to the hundred. We might hit hundreds tomorrow. We'll see. I've been here my whole life, so it ain't hot for me until it's like 1:15. Yeah, I actually love the weather right now. In
really?
my defense, if I was like a working man outside, I would hate it. I'm very fortunate that I'm inside, so
Oh,
go
I
outside.
see.
Yeah,
see.
I go outside to enjoy the weather for like 30 minutes, and I'm like, oh, I can tolerate this for 30 minutes. But if I had to be out there for like 11 hours, I'd probably kill myself. So, yeah.
I'm exactly the opposite. Being from Colorado, my comfortable temperature is like between 40 and 60.
Dude, that's fucked up,
And
man.
so, like, going
Crazy.
outside for 30 seconds, I'm like, I am melting.
Wow.
I am absolutely melting.
I'm so cold below 60. That's crazy.
Dude, I am the same way, and I am born and raised a desert rat. As soon as I went over to Tennessee and experienced their 4 seasons, which the coldest morning over there, it was 15 degrees. And
Dude.
I was like,
Lord.
dude, yes. The people I was living with, they're like, close your fucking window. I'm like, no.
Yeah, what the fuck? That's horrible. Oh man, okay.
No, it was great. I was so in love with looking outside, and it was a clear day outside, mind you. But like, our lawn was frozen. The grass was frozen, and it was just glittering like white Christmas. I'm like, I can die here and be okay with it,
Right.
But I'm just a colder weather guy. I'm built for a lot colder weather. I've slept comfortably in 23 degrees with like 3 inches of snow and sleeping in that commando. Like, I am made for the cold,
Dude.
bro.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's a problem, and I've always made the joke, whether before my show or during my show, that I was born in Arizona out of like punishment from a prior reincarnation. Like, I must have been a war criminal, because they're like, send that white Sasquatch man to the desert, and I'm like, no, and then they just restarted me, because it's ridiculous, man. Like, I could probably survive in Alaska. I could probably go to most of the northern state territories, and mind you, yes, I think any human being would need layers in the northern territories, like right before you get to Canada northern territories. But still, I would rather be dealing with either humidity or freezing cold. I would rather be dealing with blizzards or hurricanes or whatever the hell Earth can throw at me than be in a place where there's nothing to be afraid of except for the sun itself. Like, what the hell? That is so much worse. It's like,
That's fair.
yeah, there's no clouds in the sky.
Oh no.
Oh no.
That's crazy. I never thought of it like that. That's so funny, dude.
Like, dude, on a miracle day, when like monsoon season is finally starting to kick in, that's when our skies look like the wallpaper in Toy Story. That's it.
Oh wow.
That's it. And then sometimes we got monsoon coming through, and it's just like, we're like, where'd it go? And just flies over to Vegas. We're like, come back. It's so bad. But I get it. All the old people live here because they're like, oh, I don't want to deal with the tornado again. Our house got wiped out over in Mississippi. I'm like, then let's trade houses or something. I don't know. Like I'd rather be doing ballet with the fucking EF5 tornado than just like it's a clear sky outside. The thing is too, as a creative mind, this is a really really good way to describe it. When it's a clear day outside, it just reminds me of an empty canvas. I'm like, no little fun twists and curls. The chemtrails don't count. I see you playing. Like, I really wish those were illegal because they're so bad for us. Such a bad sinus infection when I came back in 23 too. But no, I hate clear skies only because it just reminds me of an empty canvas. And though I'm a godless man, I'm like, I guess God just didn't know what to fucking paint up there today, did he? Like, meanwhile, cotton candy sunsets over in Tennessee, and then like paparazzi lightning. Little did I know that was right before an EF1 touchdown, like 5 blocks from our house, but it didn't do any damage. So it was literally just silent thunder, and it was like, I'm like trying to block out my window and stuff because it's just blinding. I'm like, what is going on? Why is it so flashy? Like epileptic. If I was epileptic, I would be screwed by thunder, okay? Like, that's how bad it was, but it was quiet. And I'm like, oh, it's actually kind of nice. And then on the phone, I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah. Then we woke up, went downstairs. We were against the walls of the bathroom preparing for this thing to touch down. It touched down and did no damage. We're like, oh, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I barely got like an improvised outfit on. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just see if my car flies away by tomorrow morning. And then it just didn't do anything. I'm like, oh, I think I like Tennessee even more now. Like, they haven't really had any dangerous tornadoes. However, their next door neighbor is the inspiration for Twister. So it's like, you're right there, but you're not close enough. Anyways, weather, right? Fuck the heat. Mr. Spear, I don't know how you do it, sir. I really don't.
I don't know how you do it, dude. I get cold real easily, man.
Put on some layers of flesh.
Yeah, dude. I am very much a tropics and more heat person. My wife is Filipina and Hawaiian Islander, so for me, like when we go visit Hawaii and we go to the tropics, like it's humid and hot, and I love it. And you know, my skin loves it too. I get hella dry skin out here, and I don't get it anywhere else I go in the world. So
see, that makes a lot of sense. That I you know what? I take back my comment. Sometimes it's just genetics, man. Sometimes you're just really not meant for cold, and like you get ashy elbows in the cold or something. That's completely understandable. But still, you could just layer up. So you know that's an option too.
I love the cold in terms of visiting. I just don't know if I could live where it gets super cold. But I love to explore like different temperatures and different climates. I've never made it out down south or like more like that central U.S. I would like to go. I mean, we're gonna go regardless because we're touring. but I would like to like visit there and really take some time to kind of take in the culture and the weather. But yeah, I'm down to travel into the cold. I just don't know if I could live there, but I can appreciate it.
Honestly, what I can recommend, just be armed for it. Go up to the Mogollon Rim, Payson, Arizona. And maybe don't go up to Black Canyon Lake because I ran into a skinwalker up there. She is very angry all the time.
Oh yeah,
very angry. It just happens. It happens. Colonization, we love it. Like, it's the final product of that shit. Like, oh! You're like, nope, time to go. But no, I would recommend going up to either Payson. I could recommend going up to Strawberry, Happy Jack, or maybe even Sedona, and try to make your way up there during like November. And like that's when it actually starts to get cold. But like not nearly as cold as it is in the middle of nowhere in the desert at night during winter. Like if there's anything I understand, it's that in the dead of winter, the desert can be just as cold and desolate and dehydrating and diminishing, I guess that's a word, as a dense chunk of woods. But then you don't have any, like, there's no secrecy, you can't hide in the trees, and of course that means other things can't hide in the trees either, but that's not the point. I think that's the reason also that I want to get out of Arizona so bad. It's just like, it's like living on a giant scalp, man. Like dude, being able to see everything relevant that has occurred in my life, other than that 1 year, for miles and miles and miles. Like, there's no hills to hide it. There's no secrecy. That's a big point that I've made to myself, and also talking with ChatGPT. Like, I had conversations, because I've talked with many people about this, but what about a machine? What would a machine think of it? But it's like, yeah, you just like secrecy. You like the idea of having to adventure and conquer, like, every foot before you, because everything's so new and hidden and just like top secret. The idea of opening up a chest, it's the same thing. And that's really where Tennessee's magic came in. You couldn't see the whole goddamn state, okay? Like, it just wasn't the case. Let alone the major Phoenix Metro Valley area. Like, you can't see Nashville from Murfreesboro. I like that. That's nice. But you can see Phoenix from Mesa, which is like, I don't know, a 45-minute drive away, an hour and a half drive away. I'm pretty sure. Like, it's just not my thing. But that's okay, because snowbirds, they're like, I don't want anything to be hidden. I want to see everything. That way I can buy all the land. Invest all my money and buy all the land. I'm like, can you stop and not die, but like wither away? Because I just need to cough on you and you'll go like, man. But dude, that's why I also appreciate being mortal, and I appreciate that there might be some people who are mortal, but not everyone. Not your average Joe and Jane are just like, I can live for centuries. I'm like, what fun would that be? It's like, you gotta close that book eventually, man. But anyways, that's my snowbirds tangent, apparently. Let's go ahead and get into the anatomy. So this is going to be more depersonalized questionnaire. This is for the sake of the branding of the show. This is where the anatomy part comes in, okay? So, wait, am I forgetting the damn question? Oh no, what a terrible host am I. I guess it's also getting later, and I drank a little bit, so that probably didn't help. But it's okay. It's okay. We'll make it work. Okay. Of course, I forgot this one. It's like the most important one of all. Between the two of you, who is the blood, bones, heart, mind of this band, and why? Or are there other more specific body parts that you would designate each other with for the sake of Within Oblivion?
I feel like we all, everybody pulls their own weight in the band. Everybody brings something different to the table. I'm not exactly sure who would be what exactly, but one thing that I've noticed in my short time in this band is that if there's one person that's there for pretty much everything, it's Arthur. I feel like he's kind of the glue that holds everything together. Like, everybody kind of writes their own part, but we work together with Arthur. It's everybody's vision, but I don't know. Like, there's something about Arthur. He's just the glue that holds us together. That's just kind of the way that I see it.
That's very sweet and totally wrong, but I very much appreciate the kind words. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, if he's responsible for the beginning of this band, he's the one that pulls everything together, he's the one that keeps it together. Man, I think my headcanon would probably be, damn it. Probably the mind.
Yeah.
The mind or the heart. Like, obviously the foundations of the band, the foundations of the body rely on the heart and mind, because the mind understands the heart, but the heart pumps the blood, and then the blood circulates tells you that there's bones in there. And then all your muscles, like that's the extra step. It's like, yeah, you can live around and you can exist being bone skinny, but do you want to be? I don't think so. So it's like, then you got to build muscle, you got to learn to adapt. So Mr. Spear, what would McClure be in your opinion?
So I would say I'll go ahead and I'll shout out the members of the band because I kind of have
Yes.
an idea. I was thinking about it.
I appreciate that because that
So
would be next.
yeah, yeah. So I would say Nick, for example, our drummer, he's our legs because Nick, me and him share a lot of the business end of things together, and we do a lot. Like we do our booking, we handle a lot of like base artistic design and a lot of like kind of propelling things forward. Nick as our our video illustrator, graphic designer, doing everything himself for all of our like designs. He makes all of our websites. Like he's like a really big part in the band, and like without Nick we would not have the consistent quality content and the level of just like overall like professionalism that we try to have with like our videos and our playthroughs and production and everything. Like he's a really big aspect of that. And so to me, he's like the legs because he keeps us running and he keeps me motivated to keep pushing harder and want to learn more. And so I'd say that I'd say he's a really key component. You know, Dan to me like Dan is a lot of he's a lot of heart and mind too to me honestly like I love writing with Dan and I love Dan's vision. I think we share a lot of similar ideas and a lot of love for similar things. So to me Dan is like the so if Dan says I'm the heart and mind, to me Dan is like the epiphany that this so-called body is having because to me like he's like the inspiration for a lot of things that really want to drive me to get better and to learn more about composition and songwriting and just overall like melodic musical structure. I feel like Dan is right up there with heart, mind, maybe soul. That would be the best way of putting it. I feel like Dan
I
is
like
like the
that.
soul. If I'm the heart and mind for according to him, I would say the soul is Dan because he's the image, he's the front man, and he really helps pull and execute the ideas that I have. So that's pretty awesome. And for Jordan and Cam, they are absolutely like the hands. They are the dexterous limbs that just kind of latch out and just get shit done. Those guys are amazing work machines. They're brilliant. They're great writers. Jordan's a great bass writer, and he's really unique with what he does. And Cam's an excellent writer, excellent guitar player, and they just handle their shit and they know their shit. And I really can respect that and appreciate that.
Oh yeah, no, I love that diagnosis. So now that we've gotten that part figured out, oh my god, I just found some really cool stuff. I'm spending money tonight, um, dude. Okay, focus, Sean. Um, being that we've had the body parts designated,
Mhm.
in the opinions of you two tonight and the other members later on,
Mhm.
who would the parent bands, two only, who would the parent bands be for Within Oblivion? So you always hear the phrase, oh, it's like this band and this band had a baby, or this actor and this
I see.
actor had a baby. We're utilizing that language a little bit more directly. Who would the two parent bands be?
Damn, that's a really good question. Um, dang, so before I give any answers, I just want to say like for me, this changes with like every new release. I get inspired by the current things that I'm listening to, and I feel like every release is like a little different and it's evolving in a new direction a little bit. So, man, like every song I kind of model it a little bit after I never sit down and intentionally model a song after a band per se. I like to just come up with things originally. I feel like when you always try to say, I want to sound like this band, I feel like sometimes that limits your creativity. So for
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
I just go from full scratch. I don't even care about the genre sometimes. I find a way to make it work within what we have, but a lot of ideas come from not even sometimes metal adjacent things, Like earlier we were talking about musicals and stuff. My biggest inspiration is movie soundtracks and composition personally.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and then metal would be equivalent or secondary to that. But this is me personally. Dan might have a different answer, and we did talk about this question a little bit beforehand to kind of But like for me, with our current sound and like all of our recent releases and what I really get inspired by, I would say it's a good mix. My favorite band at the moment is Disembodied Tyrant.
Okay.
Incredibly, I just love everything about Blake Millen's composition. I love the cinematography, the epicness, the darkness. The lyrics are really dope. They're really meaningful. And just I love the dynamic shifts of the songs, and that's what I try to have in our songs. Lots of switch ups, lots of things that keep the listener engaged before it's the same thing for too long, right? And
Right.
so I'd say Disembodied Tyrant definitely, and I'd say so. I love my techie shit just as much as I love slam, and so for me, I'm gonna go with uh, Distant actually. Distant,
Interesting.
yeah, Distant is probably like the one of the major deathcore bands that I first got into after my tech death phase, which is kind of where I started.
Okay.
I saw Distant live at my first deathcore show ever. They were my first deathcore band I've ever seen live, for the record. So shout out Distant. Um, I've had a pleasure of meeting them like two or three times through my friend Chase, Wilson from Sulfur, and they're just super
Hell
nice
yeah.
guys. But like yeah, Distant. I love that they have a really cool blend of really like epic synth use, orchestral use. They have techno stuff in there. They switch it up. They have really techy guitar stuff, and then they have really slammy, dope ass grooves. And their rhythmic grooves is what initially inspired me, and later got me into bands like Peeling Fleck, which is one of my favorite bands of all time at the moment. So yeah, I'd say if I had to pick two out of like the 500 bands that I listen to on like a monthly basis, I would say Distant and Disembodied Tyrant probably matches my inspiration for songwriting the most.
And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, and everything possibly in between, for the first time on this show, the two parent bands, at least for one of the members, are prior guests that we've hosted. Like that's pretty fucking sick. I like that.
That's tight.
I'm surprised though, Mr. Spear, that one of them wasn't Within Destruction. And the only
Yep.
reason I say that is kind of like a shared name basis.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like other than that, it's like you had your answer and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, Mr. McClure, do you have any headcanon parent bands for Within Oblivion yet, or are we gonna follow along with Mr. Spear on this one?
I really agree with what he's saying. There is one other band that I kind of feel like could be considered, and it's because they do a lot of like orchestral types of stuff in their music, a lot of symphonic elements as well. And also, I try to model a lot of what I do with my vocals off of their vocalists, and I'm talking about Lorna Shore. Will Ramos is a big inspiration to me. I hope one day I can be as versatile with my voice as he is with his. It's really kind of incredible what he can do. And yeah, like I said, like the symphonic elements and everything. Yeah, I feel like there's definitely some parallels there.
No, I love that. That's cool. So, primarily with the founding member, which is pretty concrete, that sets it into lore, Distant and Disembodied Tyrant, but for Mr. McClure, it would be Lorna Shore, more or less, or Will Ramos, and which other artist? I'm sorry.
I just said Lorna Shore,
Okay.
but
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I agree with the other ones. Definitely disembodied tyrant, no question about that one. Like every time Arthur's it seems like a lot of the times when Arthur wants to show me something that he thinks is really cool, it's something that is by disembodied tyrant.
Dude, I'm
Oh,
ready for
dear.
their first full length through Metal Blade. Pardon me. Is it? No, not Metal Blade. Do forgive me. Nuclear Blast. Nuclear Blast Records, the same record label that hosts currently Brand of Sacrifice as well for their next full length. I'm ready for them to release their first one because I know it's going to be on some Infinite Annihilator level
Yep.
shit with like how many songs, one, but two, just how complex it's going to be. I know it's going to be a
That's probably my favorite thing about their writing is I love because you can make something complex, but it can still be boring, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like not everything complex is entertaining. They have found a really cool way to have an image, a sound, and something recognizable yet be different every time. And that's what I
absolutely.
like. That's why I feel like what maybe is a little bit unique about our project is that we're not afraid to try new things and jump out of our genre. And that's partly one of the reasons why we just call ourselves deathcore is because if someone wants to consider us a different genre, or they want to call us progressive, or they want to call us blackened, or they want to say whatever, by all means, call us what you want, what you identify with. We are cool. When it comes to our genre, we keep it very straightforward, so we have room to jump around and not be like, hey, because this is like a specific story, but back when I first started guitar, that's when I was really into Within Destruction, and and I was watching like one of their videos, right? And not anymore, I don't think, because now they're more like animetal, and that's dope. The switch they made is pretty dope. But back when I used to listen to them, they were considering themselves brutal slamming. I'm sorry, slamming brutal deathcore. And every comment was like, "Where's the slam? Where this is not this subgenre." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up! Y'all are like so annoying." So I just didn't want to deal with that shit. Like if I want to write a slam riff, it's going in there. If I want to write a brutal death metal, if someone wants to call a section of our song, that's like more tech death black metal. Okay, whatever. Like half of my riffs are inspired by like Spirit Box. I love Mike Stringer, and that's not even deathcore. So it's like, yeah, like whatever, dude. That's my logic. I mean, because like half the time when I write shit, I'm like, okay, this is pretty brutal. This is pretty slam. Or sometimes I was like, yo, Cam, slow down. It's kind of techie. Like, I'm like, there's some, but I'm cool with that. Like, I think the variety is what Disembodied Tyrant has, and I can appreciate that shit. So that's where I'm at.
I think I'm mainly laughing too because I remember when they were, they experienced that whole wave, and then they're just like, fine, fuck you all, we're just fake slam, and like that's what they embraced for a long time. I'm really hoping that, very similar to Bring Me the Horizon, eventually one day we see these entire like super albums done by Within Destruction, also similar to Darko, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Where it's like they'll have metalcore songs, like they'll have songs from all their different subgenres, but like there will be a greater narrative. Metal, I think, was really their first try, because they were posting about it, they were asking their fans about it, and they were asking like, should we try to write like an anime opening song? And everybody's like, yes. Like,
yeah, that's super cool.
I remember when that first happened, and I mean, from what I understand, Rock Rupnik, their singer, he can speak Japanese. Not only that, but Yokai is still like my favorite album by them. It was so fun for no goddamn reason, man.
Yokai is really good. Yeah, Yokai was one of the ones that when it came out, I bought all the tabs for it and immediately started trying to learn all of the songs. I was a big fan of Yokai. Um, my my favorites. I'm like, I don't know why I've listened to this album so many times that I'm spacing on the name, but it's like their major like talked about deathcore album, not their first Void, but it's like the, oh Lord, is it
Death Wish.
something? Thank you. Oh my God. Yeah. So that's my personal favorite release. I mean, it's obvious because like, yeah, I'm a deathcore fan. Like, yeah, it makes sense. But like Lotus, beautiful. All their new stuff is gorgeous, and it's a very different style, so I can't really compare it. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, that's like where I was deeply rooted. Like, they're the ones that got me into some of the more um, like the mixture of the slam with the tech. I guess that's kind of where my inspiration for that stuff came from. Was initially them and that album.
No, dude, Within Destruction is doing something really interesting, and I really do hope that, similar to bands, even if they are getting those opportunities first, because all of them are from Japan, like Youngblood doing the opening for Kaiju level number 8, that was Kaiju number 8.
Okay.
I was mixing that with solo leveling, which two are shows that I haven't watched yet, because everybody's like, oh, you gotta watch it if you watch One Piece. I'm like, dude, calm down. Like, okay. I have other shows back in the past I'm watching, but
I'll calm down. Those are like in my top 5. I very much.
He's like, I'm about that new gen shit, dog. No, so there are bands like Crystal Lake, Cold Rain, Wagamama Rakia, Lisa, Edo, Eda. There are a whole bunch of different artists in the Japanese music industry that get those opportunities first. But I do hope that Within Destruction ends up becoming one of the first bands from their corner of the world, Slovenia, who gets the opportunity to make a song as an opening for a show. After all, we have the opening for Part 2 of Season 1 of Fire Force, which was Cold Rain and Crystal Lake. Like, that was such a sick song. Mayday? Oh, so good. So good. there are so many opportunities, and the way that Japanese metal, rock, and pop works, especially in those niche veins, where it's like you're watching a show and you're just like, what? Who is this band? And that's how you find out about them. And sometimes those turn them into like Lady Gaga level superstars in Japan. That shit has always intrigued me, and that's why I'm like so fascinated. And I could probably quote, even with a small sample, artist, not song name, but artist and like season of show, and I could do that for like all 41 of the shows that I've seen so far. But I really hope Within Destruction gets that type of opportunity someday, especially now that they're signed to Sumerian Records. That'd be sick. So let's go ahead and move on a little bit into that of the Entity segment, which is the more clickbait stuff. You guys know exactly what this is. We technically answered one of them. I mean, really, I think we answered both of them, but other than, of course, the first name of Within, making reference to Within Destruction, how is the name Within Oblivion decided? Like, is there any other lore that you want to talk about, Mr. Spear, regarding the name, or was it rather improvised?
Okay, so I would say it's improvised, but I can tell you the story leaving out the bathroom segment, but essentially, yeah, after we had the Within talk, and that was always a word that I like. It wasn't just because Within Destruction, they're the one that made me think of the name, but I love the word Within because it kind of, if you were to put Within on something by itself, I feel like with the right context, that alone could be a title of something, just Within, because it's very ominous. I feel like it doesn't give you what it needs, but it makes you feel like something's lurking. It almost like kind of gives you the anxious word before the second word resolves what is within, right? So that's the main reason I chose Within, and then it was Within Destruction that gave me that idea. And then the Oblivion part was the part that was more improvised, and it was actually chosen more from the way the word is spoken and the vowel sounds versus me just like randomly going, oh, Oblivion. I was trying to think in my head like what would sound catchy and easy to say, what rolls off the tongue, right? So I was
Within
like,
Oblivion.
Yeah, I just kept saying like random shit, and then I was stuck on the O sound, and I was like Within O, and then I was like, what word would make sense? And then randomly it came to me, probably because the few weeks prior had been talking about Elder Scrolls Oblivion. But I said Within Oblivion, and I was like, Oblivion's a really heavy word, and then I'm like, it's so funny now because ever since like we did our name, I see Oblivion popping up everywhere. It's so funny because like one of the first songs that I listened to from Sulfur was Oblivion, and I'm like that happened, and then like Lorna Shore dropped a new song called Oblivion, and I was like, okay, done. And then like and then the Oblivion remake came out, and I was like, okay, but. And then there's even more options. And then there's like what is it? A new band. They just released something, a really big band, Lamb of God, Into Oblivion, new album, Into Oblivion. Can you believe that?
No, you're not wrong.
So yeah, I guess we like got the psychic wave train early, but it's actually helped. I also liked it for the reason that no band in the world has had, at least publicly, ever had our name. So if you look up Within Oblivion anywhere, you will find us like right away. Like anywhere you look up, we're not going to get any fluff. If you scroll down for like 20 minutes, you'll eventually see Oblivion gameplay, which is fine with me. I fucking love Elder Scrolls and all that shit. But yeah, so it was a name that was not taken, never really used. It's a common heavy word that has a lot of weight to it.
Yes.
And it's easy to say. There's a lot of pros to it, and I still like our name. I love the. I unfortunately actually don't know him personally. One of our literally 2 vocalists ago, before we were ever officially announced, someone that he knew drew our logo up for like 50. I think it was like $100, $50. I don't know. And the logo, our logo is like, I like our logo a lot personally. I think it's one of my more like preferable styles where it's still like got that kind of hard to read aspect. It's kind of gooey, it's guttural, but if knowing the name of the band in context, you can actually make it out, and I like that it's organized in a way that we've been able to subtract an emblem from it, and so it just kind of fits well with everything that we wanted to do, and I think Within Oblivion has that cinematic dark tone to it, and I think that really matches kind of how we sound now. So
yeah, no, that's cool. And other than, of course, then the answer you already provided, maybe let's talk about the future, but like not like when, when's your next tour and when you guys got shows coming up, nothing like that. Instead, it's like, what do you want in Within Oblivion as a band to separate it in the future from other bands in the deathcore community? Like, what do you guys, without providing too much context and without spilling too much tea, what do you think the future will help in distinguishing this band from other bands in deathcore?
I'm gonna let Dan say his own thing for this too, but for me, I would say kind of something that we lightly touched on a little bit earlier when we were talking about like musicals and different other like inspirations outside of like metal itself, right? I I also mentioned earlier that like I'm not really afraid to try other writing styles and mix
Right.
them in. I do think having a recognizable sound is important. Like as much as creativity is great. Running a band is a business, and if you study enough marketing, you know exactly how you have to sound and how you need to market yourself to get people to recognize and resonate with your music, right? So we have some kind of identifiable sound on purpose, and it's not something that I purposely do. It just happens naturally because we have the same team writing things, so it's kind of just how our style is, and it's how our natural um yeah, that's what I like about our project is that it's how we naturally write. Like, could I start another random side project and then try to be adjacent to that specific thing? Sure, but tying into like the question you asked, I don't really want to have to write genre specific things. I want to write what is heavy and what sounds dope. And what I don't even care if I throw a gent riff in there, a metalcore riff in there. I don't care if we throw some jazz in there. I love periphery. I
Ooh.
don't care if we throw some weird time signatures. I don't care if it's orchestral. I don't
Ooh.
care if it's techno. I don't care if it's rap. I don't care what's in there. If it's heavy, it's going in. And that's what I think will distinguish us from some other bands because bands try really hard to keep I don't want to say generic because I think generic is more of like an offensive term because I even though there is some repetitiveness in some of like the newer like newest deathcore bands coming out, I still think they're heavy and they sound dope. It's just more that like I want to see a mixture of like progressive composition, electronic and also deathcore kind of just together. And like I said, metalcore gent. I don't want to be like I'm not putting this in there because it's not adjacent to what everyone else is doing.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? So I think that's kind of what separates our current writing style apart from other bands and what our new stuff that I can't spoil yet that we're making. I feel like the new song that we're in the process of writing is actually what I was writing before this call for the last like 4 hours.
Okay.
I think that it's our techiest song yet, but it sure as hell comes back to slam and it comes back to grooves and it has a lot of ups and downs and we're gonna have a lot of fun composition wise. And I'm just excited, to see where we go. And I love trying new things. So to make my long-winded answer more precise, trying new things and not being afraid to stay confined to our borders, I think that's
Yeah.
what'll make us, stick out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, too, because we mentioned it earlier, I'm trying to point to it while also being reversed. This is so weird. Like, we could use a lot more albums like Brand of Sacrifice's Lifeblood. Not only is it a deathcore album that references Berserk without, for legal reasons, referencing Berserk, but like, I think the way that they infused all the electronic elements that they did into deathcore back then, and then had the children's choir and all the other shit, God, it's just so good. Like, after Brand of Sacrifice, I'm like, who's Born of Osiris, man? Like, no offense, but after the Burial, Born of Osiris, like, that's all Sumerian core. I pick Veil of Maya from that list, and that's about it. I'm
Oh my
sorry.
God.
Like, but
Yeah.
I want to hear more stuff like Brand of Sacrifice, and of course, they are, I think, preparing to make some announcements soon for their next thing. But
So,
it seems like they're veering away from the Berserk path. And I'm like, no, don't go. Like, Berserk is so sick. I only watched Berserk, and I remember watching that back in 2021 to prepare for their album. And then I was hearing like all the samples and the references and the tracks, the titles, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so sick. It all makes sense now. It was so great. It just made the experience so much better. But I think we could use a lot more bands who are not only similar, I guess, in a way to Brandon Sacrifice's Lifeblood or God Hand, but like maybe even more themed bands, like talk with certain animation studios and see if you can utilize their music and their soundtracks and stuff to create more media that then you can do like a 50-50 profit split with them on. I think that would be really cool because that would show a greater international ambitious level of collaboration. It's like respecting the art by creating more art. What's better than that, you know?
Yeah,
Go on a tour with that shit. But McClure, I know you had an answer, sir. It is your turn.
I would pretty much say exactly the same thing. We everybody in the band like listens to things outside of the genre we play, and we draw inspiration from every direction. And yeah, we're just not afraid to put it in. I mean, I feel like pretty much any medium of music can find its way into a deathcore song and be extremely impactful. Like you were saying, like a children's choir. Who would see that? But no, it's really kind of amazing what you can do and just not being afraid to limit yourself. I said that wrong. Not limiting yourself, not being afraid to think outside of the box.
Yeah,
You know?
fuck your ambitions.
Yeah.
Oh, 1, 2, 4.
No, it's great. I love that. And therefore, I look forward to the future of Within Oblivion. I have yet to listen to the EP because I've been so damn busy. But, I mean, these days, it's like, yeah, sure, I got 30 albums that I have yet to listen to from most of 2025 and then so far bleeding into 2026. But these days, I'm just more focused on listening to the EPs and albums of the bands that I've hosted on my show. I just think that's only natural,
fair,
less
yeah.
overwhelming. So I look forward to listening to the EP, and we get into the final set of questions. Really, this is with Slingshot. Okay, what song from you guys' discography do you guys want to be placed on the TAC's greatest hits playlist? That way people can get at least one sample song from y'all in this session.
Are we thinking the same one?
I don't know, are we?
I don't know. 3, 2, 1. Overseer. That's it. Yeah, our newest song. I'm definitely the most proud of our newest song. I think it's got the like the most diverse and like it's just it was a big project. You know, I wrote it actually a long time ago, and we kept adding to it and changing it and adding to it, and it was a song that I wrote in mind with wanting to inspired by Sulfur actually before I even met Chase. Honestly, I was writing it because I really liked their music, and I was like, yeah, I think they released. I'm struggling to remember what it was that I heard from them. I think it was, oh Lord, their most not their most recent album because that I knew about that. But the one before,
The Burden of Faith?
yeah, thank you. Yes, that one. Yeah, there was Earthen, that song from that
Earthen.
album. That was my inspiration to write like a song with more ambience, more symphonic stuff. And then, you know, I was writing that song, like Overseer, when that came out, like a while ago. And I didn't finish it until after discovering Disembodied Tyrant and their Poetic Edda
Yo,
was an
man.
inspiration for the ambient style that I tried that I kind of like sprinkled in with Overseer. We had a lot of layers of orchestrals and ambient harmonies, and they were harmonizing with the guitars and the vocals at points. And I was really a fan of like the layers, and so I feel like it's our song that has like I just find it so ironic that I wrote it with the mind of like I want to have Ricky Hoover feature on this like a year before I even met Chase, and then we met by chance at one of our like first shows. I think it was our second or our third show, um, and then we talked. We became closer, and then I talked to Ricky, and then Ricky I was like, hey, like if you like the song, you think it has like you see the vision, like let me know. And he was like, dude, let's do it. And I was like, all right. So I kind of designed that song to have Ricky on it, and I'm really glad that it ended up, being our first feature. Was Ricky. I'm proud to say that, and I'm proud to work with those guys. Are just great people. They're really nice.
They are. No, they're great people. I've had my best live experiences with them, to be honest. Being able to sing Oblivion, of course, with Ricky Hoover when they were doing an encore, and like I just took over the mic and Chase just put it. He's like, "There you go, buddy," and I just did Sam Carter-esque sing screams with Ricky
Cool.
Hoover. That was such an awesome moment. Like, of course, that prefaced my misunderstanding that you can't do that with every band you go to see live. Just
It
gonna say
happened.
that. But yeah, the other band got really fucking pissed, and they tried to sick their crowd on me and have them like attack me and shit. It was that was a terrible
Okay,
experience.
it's
But
not that deep. Oh
no,
man,
it isn't. It isn't. But
Jesus, wow.
I was like, wait, what the fuck? This
We
happens at shows?
Yeah, we wouldn't send a crowd on you. It'd be fine.
I'm glad to hear. um, okay, so after we've established Overseer of the Damned on TAC's greatest hits, which will be on both Spotify and Apple Music, updated here pretty soon. Just getting caught up on some editing for other sessions. Um, Briefly discuss the future. Shout out to any bands or people, if applicable, including the ones that you would recommend onto the Anatomy Crosscast.
Ooh, I would say so. Our main recommendation would be, you said you've only had two Vegas bands on now, and so I would say there's a band. So we're actually going on tour with these guys, unannounced tour, but we're going on tour with them in May.
Okay.
Um, we're in the booking phase right now, but they're also the band that we um co-toured with for our first ever tour, which was last March, and their band's name is Asylum of Ashes. They
Ooh.
are also Vegas Deathcore. Very cool
Ooh.
people. They are definitely the homies, and they're one of those bands that I can communicate ideas with, make jokes with, be on tour with, and I'm never like feeling like I need to be like overly professional or not myself. They're the homies, and they've always been supportive. On our first run ever, we had some technical difficulties, like our first two or three shows, like our tracks were bugging out, and they were just there to be really supportive, and they really just made sure to really encourage us on our first ever run, and never will forget that. Yeah, they've been incredibly influential from like a support and business standpoint. So they're really cool guys. Truthfully, they're really cool guys, and I like their music. So
Hell yeah. They only got one album out currently called Bridge to Hell, correct?
I believe so. Yep.
Okay, cool. Featuring Rafael Gonzalez. Okay, sick. I think I know who Rafael Gonzalez is. It really depends, but if that's Nuka, that's fucking sick because I've hosted them. I've hosted him, and we'll host him again soon for Bone Carver when they return. Cool. Yeah, I like their logo. I like the Bridge to Hell. It's very simple design, but it's effective. So that's one recommendation. Do we got any others?
Another one's Body of Filth.
Ooh.
You know?
Also the homies.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Also Vegas Beatdown.
Yeah.
Beatdown.
Oh,
Yep. They're very 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 cool band. Also going on a run with them. That one is announced. We're going in like 2 weeks to play in Reno and up in uh I just had a brain fart. Where else are we playing?
Reno. Oh, what is the California?
Oh, Bishop,
Bishop.
California. Yeah, so we're going to play up north. That'll be fun for our first time playing up north in general, so that'll be pretty cool.
Sweet.
But yeah, they're a great band. Funny story, that project that I mentioned that this kind of started with, before Within Oblivion existed, Keys of Death. Their vocalist of Body of Filth was our vocalist for that project, and we all went to school together, me, him, and Jalen. So
Okay, sweet.
yeah, so they're cool guys. They're cool guys for sure.
So we got Asylum of Ashes and Body of Filth.
Yep.
Solid. Okay. And we have two recommendations, I think, this time of the year with, I think, 20 to 30 recommendations. I'm like, okay, I gotta get caught up on this shit. Like,
Yeah, right.
gotta reach out to all these bands, man, to see if they're interested and then schedule accordingly. But I do believe that will be the end of the Anatomy Crosscast and its first date session with Daniel McClure and Arthur Spear of Vegas Deathcore band Within Oblivion, recommended, slingshotted, okay, by Mr. Chase Wilson from Of Sulfur. Ladies and gentlemen, and everything possibly in between, thank you for tuning into this crosscast. Please consider subscribing for $3 a month to the Crosscore Patreon, where you will get access to exclusive album listening sessions and the final product, extended version of this session. And just like the Great Eternal Music Machine, let's keep cranking, and we'll see you later.